I'm Marty from Burbs Entertainment, and this is Burbs Listens. We will be reviewing Little Simz' legendary, most recent album, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, acronym SIMBA. After a 5 to 6 month buildup and this rollout has been really interesting. It's one of the longest rollouts I've ever seen for an album. Little Simz has dropped her fourth album, and it seems like after Gray Area, she couldn't really top herself. I've listened to a lot of UK rappers. I've listened to a lot of the UK scene. And Little Simz is definitely one of the highlights of not just female artistry, but artistry as a whole. And I think that's what she's trying to point out with this album is she's not just a female artist. Is a lot of people look at that lens and look, she's one of the better female artists. She's one of the best artists in the UK scene in the world right now. And there's a plethora of singles with such a long album rollout with a vinyl coming out and such a large rollout. It's destined that you're going to have to drop singles. And she dropped 3 of the singles. She dropped Woman, which was Cleo Soul, which made a few appearances on Gray Area, which was a very good album. Introvert, which was the opener, a lot of horn-driven instrumental, kind of a grand opening to this project. We didn't know that at the time, but it is the grand opener. It kind of makes sense. And I Love You, I Hate You, which all 3 of those songs are top 3 songs of the album, and she formatted the album this way in a way where those 3 songs are the top 3 songs on the album, or they're the top 4, I believe, and then there's an interlude in between. But yeah, actually it is, top 4, and then there's another song, 2 Worlds Apart, in between. These 3 singles are some of the top 3 singles on this album. I can't stress that enough. These 3 singles are Woman could be one of the best songs of the year, and also she did mention that Woman and Introvert are both sample free. And I think she really gears a lot towards, she talks about a lot of Gray Area. I think she's very anti-sample. There are samples in between the song, but I think she likes the authenticity of just being able to create her own, making her own type of music. And that's what she does super well in this album. And obviously, as we can look at it, there are a lot of topics jam-packed into this album. And one of the topics that is definitely the most prominent is intersectionality. And for people who don't know, it is that the layers of oppression that people can face, so not only being African American, but being a woman, so she's oppressed by 2 different types. That is the most generic basic version I can do, but obviously a very prevalent topic on this album, talking about many different things. She definitely talks about UK's problem, which is we can really see UK's government problems, as we can even see in US government problems, and how it is affecting poverty, and how it's affecting livelihood, and everyone involved in that poverty ring is how are they being affected by the government. She really hones in on a lot of things and talking about poverty is that big aspect, and how that she's definitely talking about how race she's affected that way too. And then you can even see family issues. On I Love You, Hate You, the main focus of it is against her dad, which is one of the strongest quotes of the album is when she's going through this whole song about her dad saying with this sample that goes I love you, I hate you, which is just such a perfect sample. And I know that she was talking about, and I was talking about how she might be a little bit anti-sample and she prefers the authenticity, but this sample I think is just, it needs to be there, and she really formats that super well. And as she's going with the bounce back, I love you, I hate you, talking about how she feels about her dad, and that her dad their family left her on her own, and how it impacts that. But the last quote of this song, after going back and forth, is you a sperm donor or a dad to me? Could be one of the most powerful quotes in this whole year as a whole. And I think that going through that whole song, you can really see how she builds upon that, and how she is stressing her internal struggle she has with that inside of her. So it's a very cool thing. There are plenty of different things that we can see on this album that are jam-packed in it to show how beautifully written, produced, and just this album really is. One thing I really also enjoy with Little Simz, what she does in this album, is that she has a lot of interludes just kind of intertwine in each song. And it's seen on something like you usually see a Solange album, which is also another top album that covers the topic of intersectionality. But one of the interludes that I think is the most powerful is that Rapper Came to Tea. It starts like a Victorian romantic area of time right there. Like the music is very Victorian era, where there's a lot of string patterns, violins, and stuff like that. And it opens with a girl being very pretentious about and it's like it seems like she's talking with Little Simz during this time. And what really is powerful about it is I think that it goes into a lot of different things of the upper class and how she is viewed upon as a rapper, and how she is viewed as being a woman. How is she going to get into this game, and she needs to take the game from her, and it seems like very questioned, very upper class, being like, hey, I'm looking over you and looking down upon you. And that angle and perspective I think is a really interesting one coming from her album, and it shows that opposite one and how stupid that view is, and it's such a pretentious and just kind of almost disgusting view upon Little Simz, being like, oh, you can't make it. Oh, how do you think you can go in this game? How do you think you can be a rapper and stuff? But takes in that aspect of Victorian level people. And I think that was a very good interlude in it, and it really reflects how a lot of people, maybe music critics, a lot of people in the UK view Little Simz and how they shouldn't, and how stupid of an idea it is. It's a very ironic interlude. And I think interludes like that you can see are branched together in such a way that really reflects this type of album. And I think that there's just so many great things. And another aspect I want to hit about on this album is the versatility she has. In songs like Speed, you can see like that ruffled bass line that we've seen in Gray Area, you know, very ruffled, and how she can go on top of that. And you can really see on top of that with layered cynical synths that build upon that. I think it's a very, very cool idea how she does it, and it really shows her expertise is growing as an artist and stuff like that. And then you'll see a song like I See You, which is very string heavy, has a very nice guitar, luscious guitar that kind of floats on the track. And how she can just switch gears is crazy, because she wears her emotions on her sleeve. And usually when that happens, it's hard to have jam-packed in every emotional outline, but she can attack every emotion and every type of genre to build and just show how she is a great artist, and her artistry is fantastic. So many different things that you could talk about on Speed, just with Speed, I See You, Protect My Energy even sounds like a Paula Abdul song. It sounds like something off that with a very 80s club scene type of vibe to it. And so you can really bounce between it, and her versatility is something that I think many artists strive to have, and it's one thing that I think is just a great thing that she does. There's so many different types of rap, types of R&B, types of just any type of genre. I mean, you can see even club music, dance music. She can really attack as many genres as you want, and still formulating down and still staying focused on her personal narrative with the topics like intersectionality and the things I've mentioned before in this video. So how she can stay narrow yet so broad is such a very interesting and impressive thing on this album. One thing that I would like to see. Last thing I want to touch on is, as I mentioned with Introvert being the very nice opener, Closer is almost just as good. Misunderstood, it's just very slow. She slows down her pace to show that the grand opening, we're going through the whole album, and we're finally slowing down at the end, and just talking about very anti-fame, which is another topic we see. She's going around talking about how she doesn't need the fame and critical respect. She doesn't like that and stuff. The album is about being an introvert. Obviously she doesn't like the fame, and she doesn't need that to show that she's the best, because we can obviously see a lot of confidence in this album, but she's showing at the end being like, hey, I don't even need any of that. I know I'm great, and that's all that matters. And just a very powerful aspect. This album is honestly phenomenal. I can't give enough. I had to make a whole video in the studio about this. I just can't. I mean, the studio, of course, but this album is just phenomenal. I'm definitely giving it a 9 out of 10, easily. I mean, I can't even do that. It's just phenomenal. I love anything from the album cover to the closer. It's fantastic. And I think that this might have been, even when I first heard that roll off 5-6 months, I'm like, oh my God, it's so long. How am I going to be able to wait? It was worth it. And she knew that it was worth it. And I just gotta thank Little Simz for a great project. And that's it. Burbs Listens. I'm Marty. Peace.